Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Leadnap Gaming. This week we're still talking all about the Connie Taurus. Last week we were talking about starting ships, and I brought up the Connie Taurus as one of the best all-around ships you can have. Now, the Taurus isn't a starter ship, a point I made but may not have been clear enough about. That said, the Taurus has really replaced the Cutty Black as the ideal multi-purpose utility ship to have. I want to spend some time breaking that down, but also breaking down some of the problems in the Taurus, if they really matter. The Cutty Black was the F-150 of Star Citizen. Cheap, no frills, multi-crew, and could carry a vehicle and decent cargo. Coming in at a nice $100 price tag, there's even a starter package option at $115. Having a starter package makes it officially a starter ship, though the now $240 Connie Andromeda also has a starter pack. I don't consider the Black a starter ship. It's too expensive. Same for the Taurus, which does have a starter pack version. There's nothing wrong with the Connie Black. It's still a king, and should certainly be on the roadmap of any aspiring single ship player or even those with larger fleets to fill a major utility role. The Taurus, though, is then the Pope, the new GMC Sierra 2500 of the verse. It does what the Cutty does, just better even without the flex tailgate. No, this video is not sponsored by GMC, who, if you're listening, shoot me an email and let's talk. Both have multi-crew. The Connie can take more than just a single friend. Both get a top-mounted gun turret. Both get a seat for a radar missile operator. Of course, the Taurus lets you man both with crew simultaneously, if you don't want a hot bunk. The Cutty delivers a solid amount of cargo for quick runs, but the Taurus hands you what could be considered smaller mass loads for some real profits. Better range, better armor and shields, better weapons, flex tailgate, scratch that last one. The point is the Taurus is the Cutty Black with higher towing capacity, nicer seats, and while people might want to deny that it matters, it looks big and beefy, the sort of ship you feel cool spawning on a pad for new players to check out. There are many ships in the verse that do many things, but whether you're building a fleet or deciding on a single ship, the Taurus is the best bang for your buck, real or a UEC. Of course, as I mentioned, I'm giving one away as well, details later in the video. Last year, I did a video about things CIG should rework on the Connie, a process they have repeatedly mentioned they intend to do. Admittedly, some of my changes would dramatically change the iconic shape and feel of the ship, and perhaps upend some of the utilitarian effectiveness of the ship. The Constellation Taurus might be the new king of utility, but it's a disaster of old ideas, lore, and specific execution. For a long time now, the Taurus was always viewed as the original or poor man's Connie, with modifications following to generate the Andromeda, Aquila, and Phoenix. However, with this new launch, the Taurus is the newest, sexiest, best model to have. This is illogical, like Bentley introducing a new cargo model that's more comfortable than the original. RSI is not luxury defined, and to be completely fair, the Taurus is the better chassis. Faced with it needs to carry more cargo, our understanding is that the cargo bay was expanded aft, consuming some of the component spaces in the engine room. This space still exists on the Taurus, though, and thus the only reason the other three variants don't enjoy a cargo deck of this size is because the snub when docked would be preventing it from opening. To squeeze a little more cargo and prevent scanning, the Taurus gets a back cargo area that isn't connected to the elevator deck, which forces the question why the cargo bay in the other Connies isn't elongated with only the forward portion elevating, thus giving them all 168 SCU. What explorer wouldn't want to venture out with more food and fuel? Since none of the component housings moved, consuming valuable additional space that also would have been important for moving heavy SCU boxes into that back room, we can recognize another problem for the Taurus. It could have carried a lot more cargo. When you look at the cargo conversions of the 737, 747, A380, you realize they stripped out everything not needed for the flight crew and made it into cargo space. There is an awful lot of area forward of the cargo bay that could have had elevator cargo deck expanded into. The Taurus, by my count, could have had a crew of 2, just like the C2. The co-pilot can man the turret when needed, or the tractor beam, or work on components, or navigate from the side seat. None of those things need be done simultaneously. An extra crew is an extra expense in the running cost. No cargo carrier alive today would operate one of these. The Taurus has the same elongated bridge as the others, but it won't carry any of the scanning components slated to eventually be in the space. That makes it a good spot for some bunks, the shower, and the kitchenette. If the position of those beds as escape pods were otherwise still a critical concern, they could be in the cargo bay off the catwalks in their current position. These are cargo pilots, not luxury passengers. It might not be popular, but the elevator used by the crew could even be deleted in favor of extending the cargo deck forward. They can ride the whole thing up. Again, this is about squeezing as much cargo in for as cheap as possible. Best of all, by expanding forward, the rear section of the ship could have been left alone, allowing a snub to dock. A Merlin might be pointless, but some sort of MPUV to work in conjunction with the tractor turret would have been pretty cool. The Taurus isn't as cargo utilitarian as it should be, but the ramifications are even worse to the other Connies. The Aquila would benefit from eating some of that aft space for a spare cargo and science lab. Clearly, the component housings didn't need to take up so much space. The Andromeda could have packed in extra shield generator and power plant, perhaps. Room for one more personnel elevator so that the luxury guests don't have to traverse the crew space on the Phoenix. The Taurus just shows how poorly the design was executed on the earlier, more expensive, more specific versions of the Constellation. It was a design improvement that should have taken place, but it demonstrates doing so in this order makes the other Connies less useful. There's also the issue of the MFDs. The Taurus being released in 3.14 with the new helmet-mounted display leaves questions on both sides. Why are the caution lights physical still? These take up so much visible space when they could just appear like the gear and VTOL indications. When all of this data is being fed to the helmet queuing system, why isn't more of it? I applaud the new control sets on the seat sides, though the original version of less is more should have been kept going up into the pilot's view. Never mind this switch right here not working. If all of this data is going to be displayed and visual real estate consumed, then commit to it. Delete these MFDs and port this into the space in the visor. I personally prefer some MFDs to hold data I want to see, but 3 small MFDs like the center over the top for a few systems is ideal. Of course, Roberts has said in the past, the point is in most ships, you're not supposed to fly wearing heavy space armor like you're charging a machine gun nest. But more and more data is being fed into the helmet visor that I'm usually not wearing. So the MFDs stay, and the physical HUD of previous Connie versions should probably return. Again, why does this button not work? As for the struts, unpopular opinion, but these are important to me. If you spend time in here, you find they don't really hamper you too much. They can actually be very useful blocking the sun, but the most important view is here, and it's unobstructed. This isn't a fighter, and considering this is the view from some fighters, I have no issue with it. The real issues in landing are the nose bob that defies physics. In the end, the Taurus isn't perfect. I still want to see some major revisions on the Connies which would have only made the Taurus even better. That said, it does a whole lot without giving up anything but trivial luxuries. And the ship that did it better, which came before, had even less of them. If you can't live without them, go see the TRX of the verse, the MSR. As far as winning one goes, when we reach 12,000 subs, I'll give one away. Unlike previous giveaways, I'm not going to draw monthly names. Each video you comment on counts as an entry. When we hit 12K, I'll pick the subscribed winner from the comments. I've seen a few of you mention that if you won, you'd gift it to a friend, and I want to clarify that once gifted, you can't re-gift, unfortunately. However, if you win, I'll send it to whoever you want. Of course, your friends' odds of winning also improve if they are also subscribed and commenting. So let me know in the comments what you do or don't like about the Taurus. Like and subscribe if you haven't, and make sure to share this video with your friends. As always, I will catch you all next time.